Hello there, it's Jessie here. Welcome to the channel. Ba-ba-bum. How are we doing today? Big warm welcome. If you're coming back, you know that I love you. And hello, new subscribers. And if anyone's completely new and you clicked here and you're thinking, what's all this about then? Well, come and see. I don't know. I don't really know. But what I suppose if I had to explain what I do here is I share my stories and how I'm learning about what happens to me in life. And then maybe it resonates, maybe it doesn't. So come along for the ride if you want. I really, do you know what is so important for me? To encourage people to think for themselves and decide in themselves what they want. And maybe it's really important for me because I'm in that process of like really showing up for myself in that way. But it's in process, you know, because I had to learn because I didn't do it before. And then I sort of became aware that I wasn't doing that. So now I'm like, all right, do it. And now I'm like, everyone else has to do it too. I have this in me when I find something new or discover something, I'm like, sing it from the rooftops, everyone needs to know this information. And it's not strictly true. Like I know, and I've seen other people do it, and it's like, yeah. But it's cool that we have freedom of expression, isn't it? And we can do whatever the flip we want. Yeah. So today I've got a question for myself and for you and for anyone in any moment of their life, which is, what are you gonna do about it? And I say it like that because I went to go see a play years ago now with an ex-boyfriend of mine. He was an actor. And we saw this play, and it was one of the taglines throughout the play. It would go, there was this one character should go, what are you gonna do about it? And then me and my ex would say it to each other a lot. And I still say it to myself now, and I think it's brilliant. Especially if you're doing like healing and, you know, trying to in some way better yourself for your own experience, I guess, to improve your own experience. I think that's why I do it. And it's a brilliant question because especially like working with inner child work, and I will be a little bit honest here. As some of you know, I'm doing a 2-year course which is like deep diving into healing, and we learn a lot of practices, modern and ancient. And the whole point is that you sort of go through all of this and you really get to know who you are as an individual and how you respond and how you react and how you behave and what your patterns are and when you're being triggered and how to deal with that. And then eventually that you can become a space holder and facilitate other people to that awareness of themselves. You just guide them. People know better than we do. We don't know what people need. We can be very intuitive and we can be very empathetic, but it's always from our perspective. And individuals, I just love, this is what the schools taught me actually, is like really honoring each individual and their intelligence and their ability to guide themselves home. Like it's makes way more sense than anyone else can do that for you. Like, and so I really promote that on this channel. I always say things like, oh, it's up to you, you decide, I feel this, what do you think? And I like to encourage that self-inquiry, like, so you know yourself better and what you need and what your boundaries are and what your dreams are. And then we can all live so happily together, don't you think? That's the goal. But what are you going to do about it? So back to that. So my one doubt on this 2-year school is if I really need to be there, honestly. Like I know I have work to do. I know I need to do healing. But it's a big group. There's 80 of us. And I feel like the group's slowing me down. That's my concern. And I've thought about it. And because on the last module we did 10 days together, we weren't able to explore all of the material because of the group, because there's a lot of questions, there's people arriving late, Now these bits, the material that we didn't do was the most exciting part for me. So I was a bit disappointed. And then What do I do when I get disappointed? I look for somebody to judge and blame. So it's the group's fault. And, you know, in a sense, like, I'm part of that group though. So to say like it's the group fault and me being a part of it is a bit strange, doesn't make sense. And I thought about it and I was like, okay, well, I know that I can flip my perspective on this, and apparently you see, we always reveal truth to ourselves. We're always speaking our truth if we listen carefully, and to others. And they may be speaking truth from the false sense of self. So what they're saying isn't true to the essence, but if they're speaking from the false sense, it's an inverted truth. And I've entered the realm of intention. Somebody told me that's what it's called, and it clicked. It made perfect sense. And I'm training the inner ear to hear truth, what people really mean, and where they're speaking from. Is it the false self or like the true self? And if you're like, what's a false self? I think a false self is like when we're acting from our conditioning or belief systems that were imposed upon us and we absorbed as children, but might not necessarily be our natural truth. So I act from the false self quite a lot. And I try not to. It's my daily practice to be true, authentic, real, honest, transparent with myself and then with others. But of course, you know, I'm a human and I'm conditioned, as we all are. Yeah, it happens and it's okay. And what's really nice to recognize when I'm doing that, and I look back and I'm like, oh shit, maybe that wasn't 100% genuine. Even on this channel, a lot of these videos, I'm like, oh, there I am, like harking on about being authentic and I'm still wearing a mask. It's okay. I'm totally compassionate with it. Our masks keep us safe. They've protected us for however many years, and they should be honored for that. You know, maybe we don't need them anymore, or maybe they're holding us back in some way, but really we've created them all, or whoever we learnt them from, to survive, and I honor that. So it's really nice to own it in myself. And then if I see others acting out from their mask, for the most part, because of course I still get triggered by certain individuals, but for the most part I can see through and like not judge a person or on how their false self is behaving or interacting, and actually think, okay, this is from protection. What's underneath this? Is there any way we can connect there? What are you gonna do about it? So anyway, I went off on a tangent there. So I was talking about the group and how I feel like they're slowing me down. And then I thought, well, I'm a part of this group. And then I thought, okay, perspective shift. Let's play here. Maybe, rather than the material that I never had access to, maybe exactly what I needed in that moment in my life, in time, is to be slowed down by a group. And how does that make me feel? And how do I wish to respond to that feeling? But the reason why I doubt the work sometimes is because I see, and I've seen this in myself, is that there can be like a tendency to, when you're healing, especially in a child, so you're going back to the story, what happened, blah, 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 there's a tendency to sort of attach to the story. It's become our identity, and God forbid we let that go. And I can see sometimes a bit of a stagnancy, like there's a bit of staying in the story, in the victim, as a baby. And as much as I feel it's so important to visit those spaces and express from that space, you've then got to get yourself out. And this is where the question comes in. What are you gonna do about it? So I'm pretty sure something horrendous happened to you in your childhood. If you're drawn to me. Maybe not. Maybe you slipped through the net. Congratulations. But anyway, it doesn't even have to be like a specific thing. Like it totally depends on the individual and their sensitivity or resilience. And we talk about this a lot. My teacher at this school has twin boys. And I'm a twin. And there's a few twins as well in the group. So it comes up a lot. And she's saying like how her two children had the same upbringing, the same amount of love, the same environment, all of it. Yet they're very different people. And a similar event, like when she left her partner, they responded very differently to that. So I find, and I did this too quite a few years ago as well, I'd diminish my pain, I'd diminish my experience in childhood, because it was like, oh, but it wasn't that bad. People have had it worse. So I shouldn't have this reaction because, and there we are, invalidating our own feelings. Like, if you're a sensitive soul, it could have been a very, very small thing that happened that was deeply traumatizing to you. So honor your sensitivity, and never diminish your pain or the pain of your inner child. So I think it's important to go there and realize this. And what are you gonna do about it? Not get stuck there. Come on, guys. and I say this, I'm talking to me too. Like, I is for me, you know what I mean? Like, we're always talking for ourselves at the end of the day. What am I going to do about it? And so anything that comes up now where I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I need to sit with the pain. And now, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to change? How do I want to show up differently? Do I want to identify with this story and all of the insecurities and playing small that comes with it? No. So what am I going to do about it? And that's it. That's my question. Keep it in mind if you want. I am. So I will leave it there today, guys. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Question today: what are you gonna do about it? And if you're still here and you feel the magic, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. I love you. Have a beautiful day and a beautiful life. We've got this.